Hello everyone, this is Sneha S from Techie team, and I am here to talk about the problem statement given to us, and the project is based on two of the problem statements, which are healthy lives. How do we help people live healthier lives, and digital futures? How to improve people's life through technology. So here we are. Carcinoma Prognosis is the project name, which literally translates into cancer diagnosis. Prevention is better than cure. So, carcinoma prognosis is a new beginning aimed at saving millions of lives. So, what? How many of us actually know what is cancer? Whenever the word cancer is said, we always think of a bald lady or a doctor or a very deadly disease that can cause deaths all over the world. But in general, cancer is actually a easily curable disease when found at an earlier stage. But if found at a later stage, it is deadly and it can cause death. So moving on, the statistics of curing cancer, as we can see, it decreases from stage 1 to stage 4. Now, cancer prognosis. Carcinoma means cancer and prognosis means diagnosis. So basically, our project is dependent upon early diagnosis of cancer. So the problem statement that we took is the mortality rate of cancer patients is shooting up to the sky just because of the simple, very simple fact that it was diagnosed late. This can be due to many number of reasons, like people are reckless, people are lazy, etc., which I'll be talking later. But the fact that the existing technology, the advancement of medicinal field and the advancement of technology can easily diagnose cancer and cure cancer at an early stage. But why is it lately diagnosed in most of the people? Because, as I said, they are reckless, and it's also not cost efficient. But the objective of cancer prognosis is that to make cancer diagnosis really easy and cost efficient using machine learning algorithms. So the aim of the project is early diagnosis, linking medicine with technology, saving millions of lives, and to make medicine economically feasible. So the overview of the project is that we detect the cancer early in an early stage by getting and detecting symptoms from people, and then with the data available and the data fed, system predicts and generation, and then it gives a prediction and the probability of cancer in a particular patient. Now moving on, the necessity of cancer prognosis. There is no awareness among people. As I said, some people don't know the necessity of this early prediction of cancer. Can you believe that simple fact that the headache you're having right now could be or might be a symptom of cancer? Shocking, right? Yeah, that's how unnoticeable cancer is, and there is no awareness created so that people take their symptoms very lightly, and the minor symptoms like weight loss and hair loss could be a very dangerous symptom for cancer. And then moving on, there's recklessness among people. Even though they have a very major symptom, people are reckless to go to the doctor. And then there's economical issues among people, and then comes the medical anxiety. I lost my grandmother to a cervical cancer last year, and the fact that it was diagnosed late was only because she was embarrassed or shy to talk about her symptoms to even her own son and daughters. So that's how medical anxiety is playing a crucial role over here. People are embarrassed to talk about their symptoms when it comes to cervical or breast cancer or etc., etc. And then there's lack of time among people. We are all busy with our life so much that our works come before our health. And then there's no visible symptoms among people, so that cancer is left undiagnosed for a very long period of time. So why carcinoma prognosis? As I already said, early diagnosis saves life, and it saves time, and it's cost efficient. Now moving on. So this is basically the overview of our project, and what we do is we ask the patient for all the symptoms that they are facing. For example, whenever we go to an hospital, the doctor first asks about the symptoms that a particular patient is facing, so that according to that, the doctor predicts whether they might have cancer or not. And this, in the same way, Carcinoma Prognosis website also does the same thing. It asks for the symptoms from the patient and the risk factor from the patient, and accordingly it detects cancer and gives a prediction. And I have to remind you that this is a prediction app, and confirmation of cancer might be done using MRI or CT scan. So always diagnosis is different from confirmation. Diagnosis means it's a prediction and it might not be confirmed, but confirmation means a test like MRI or CT should be taken. For diagnosis in medical field, they use biopsy. For confirmation, they use MRI or CT. And in the same way, for diagnosis, Carcinoma Prognosis app might be used. But in the near future, many technologies can be used. For example, nowadays a miniature MRI machine has been found, which can be connected to your phone. Our phone nowadays has a BP sensor, and then heart rate sensor and SpO2 sensor, etc. But what if MRI machines can also be attached to the phone itself, so that people can easily check if they have cancer or not at their home itself, and it's cost efficient too. Now moving on, first of all, we should know the difference between risk factors and symptoms. Risk factors are something that increases the risk of our susceptibility of cancer. So it might result in cancer. For example, your habits can result in cancer, like tobacco, that is smoking, or even drinking alcohol. And the symptoms are something that indicates the presence of cancer, which might include weight changes, persistent cough, fevers, etc. Moving on, the mortality rate of cancer patients is shooting up to the sky just because of the simple fact that it was left undiagnosed. Look at the number of deaths in just a year. 10 million deaths. Could you even believe it? If only it was found earlier, these 10 million deaths could have been reduced very significantly. Medicine is doing all its research to overcome this cancer and to eradicate cancer. But as engineers, should we keep quiet? Think about it. Now, for all cancer patients, they have only one question in their mind. If only I had known, if only I had predicted my cancer earlier, if only my doctors have had given me the proper prediction, if only my family members knew that I would have had cancer, if only. This question can be eradicated by our prediction app. Now, moving on. So there is a can in cancer because we can beat it. So let's create a cancer-free world with cancer prognosis. So moving on to the app, this is the code, and then I've run the app using Docker Compose Up, which is a very simple command. We have deployed our app in Docker, so Docker Compose Up is enough for running the app, and then going to the website. So this is our website, and it's basically, as you can see, here we give some facts for the patients about cancer, so that an awareness is created and patients can know what is cancer, and then they can take necessary treatment accordingly. And here we can see the medical anxiety, the symptoms aren't easily visible, and the other facts that I have already talked about. So now moving on, when we can start the test. Now, this is the login page, and here patients can sign in or log in accordingly, and these data can be stored in a database, and then the prediction can be given accordingly. For example, the gender and age and can be stored in the database, so that the patient can get a detailed report and the prediction. So I've already logged in, so I'll use my email. Yep. So this is the page. As I said, the risk factors shows the amount of risk that a patient might have of having cancer. So these are very general questions that those are the risk factors that the patient might have about having cancer. So here there are many questions that the patient can answer accordingly, and then according to the answers that the patients have given, it moves on to the next page. So let's answer these questions. After answering these questions, if the majority of the question has been answered yes, it moves on to the next page, or else it gives the result as they have very less risk of having cancer. And then moving on to the next page, we have the round 2 page, where the risk factors are asked for each and every particular type of cancer. For example, for liver cancer, the risk factors would be smoking or drinking alcohol, and accordingly for each type of cancer, the symptoms have been asked, and then the answers are given accordingly. Let's check in the boxes right now. As you can see, after filling all the boxes, for example, here we have for lung cancer, for like smoking or COVID or etc. And as we have filled, it goes to the next page accordingly if you had answered many questions as yes. Now moving on to the next page, we have the round 3 page, where we ask for the symptoms. So this is the main picture. As you can see, the symptoms for each cancer is been asked. For example, for liver cancer, there's a particular set of questions, and for pancreas is particular set of questions, etc., etc. You can ask me how this would be so accurate because the patient is giving the answers. Here, the Carcinoma Prognosis app in the future can include doctors' suggestions. For example, they can have a live chat with doctors, and their data is being stored anonymously, so that they don't have to have the shyness or the medical anxiety that I was talking about earlier, so that they can talk to a doctor easily, and they can easily clear their doubts too. And the symptoms asked here are really put in a very simple words, so that the people can understand what's going on. And if this app is made mandatory by the government, for example, you can ask me how this can be made mandatory in a practical manner. People are really reckless, I know that, but for example, COVID vaccines were made to put by the government, and then people were reckless at first, but when it was made mandatory, and when it came to the point that it's about their own health, people weren't reckless anymore. They went and then they had their vaccination. So that is how people are. So when it comes to their health, people won't be reckless, but the point is they are not aware of the situation. So that is what is done by our cancer prognosis app. So this detection is really, it can be made more accurate by adding doctor suggestions, and the questions and the symptoms questions can be asked by these are basic symptoms questions that we took from similar medical websites, but these questions can be collected from a group of doctors by World Health Organization, and then those collection of doctors can also be connected in this app, so that through this website the millions of doctors can be connected worldwide, and then this can be made into an international app, so that cancer can be eradicated everywhere. So now moving on to the round 3, here the questions are being answered. I'll answer all the questions right now so that we can move on to the next page. Now, as you can see, I've answered all the questions according to the symptoms. So the patient can also answer all the questions according to their symptoms. And for each cancers, there are particular symptoms given. And then moving on, here we have added 5 types of cancers. And then moving on to the next page. Next page would be the result page. And the machine learning algorithm would predict the percentage of cancer which is there in a particular patient. As you can see, the risk percentage for this particular patient, the liver cancer is 82%, and for pancreatic cancer it's 63, and for skin cancer is 32.92. So accordingly, this website predicts the probability of cancer in each patient, and it gives comment also. And here, after this, for in the future, they can also add doctors contacts so that they can go to each particular specialist doctor for each cancer, and then they can get treated accordingly. World's best doctors can be connected through this so that cancer treatment can become really easy. And then moving on to the machine learning algorithms that we use. So as we can see here, we used different algorithms for each and every type of cancer. We chose decision tree algorithm. I'll tell you why we chose decision tree algorithm. So this is the decision tree algorithm. We chose decision tree algorithm because there were different types of choices that were here, the different types of symptoms and the different types of cancer. So we use decision tree algorithm so that it would be easier to classify this model. And then there's the root node and the branch node and the leaf node. Here the root node would be our cancer prediction, and the leaf node would be the symptoms, and the other leaf node would be the risk factors. So then moving on, the components. These are the basic terms that we used in the algorithm. And then the dependent variable is the cancer risk, and then the independent variable is the symptoms cost. So moving on, we use the training set and the test set in the algorithm, and the libraries which we used are Scalern, NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib to plot the graph. And then we use the standard scalar, which is which is to make the mean equal. And then we use the entropy to find the accuracy of our model. And we made a confusion matrix. I'll show you the confusion matrix for this particular cancer. For blood cancer, we got the confusion matrix to be like this, which means we got 61 right predictions and 17 wrong predictions. So that means it's really accurate, right? People can depend on this app and they can take the test here and then go and confirm it using the MRI and CT, so that it will not waste the time and it's cost efficient. Here we took data from different websites, medical websites. In the CSVs we have the general age, and then the smoking, and then etc. The symptoms, cost, and due to the symptoms, if they had cancer, accordingly we got a CSV, and then we used the machine learning algorithm. As you can see the confusion matrix here. And then moving on, here this is the training set, and this is the test set that we got. And as you can see, the outliers are really very small in number, so that we can assure that the prediction is really accurate and people can depend on it. So the basic FAQs that you might have right now are as follows. So as you can see, problems. Doctor appointments are nowadays really rare, and after 6 months, for example, in cancer treatment centers, if we book appointment now, we get it booked after 6 months. So, but this app actually avoids the waiting time and makes sure that the treatment is started at the right time. After getting the prediction, as I said, the doctor's contact is added. So accordingly, they can book an appointment there according to according to the severity of the cancer and the stage of cancer that they are currently in. And then they can take their MRI test and also post that in the app, so that they can talk with the doctor and then book an appointment, and the treatment can be started at the right time, and doctors can be and doctor suggestion can be used. And then the second problem is patients prefer particular doctors. Some patients have family doctors and stuff, but this app has contact with many doctors all around the world. Among them is which the patient's preferred doctor is also included, so that the patient's family doctor can also be in contact with the patient easily and anonymously, so that the medical anxiety is also removed, and their preferred doctors can be in contact with the patient and easily they can be treated with cancer. And then the next problem is that people don't wear helmets and masks, even though they are supposed to. But if we make this app mandatory, would they take these tests? Coronavirus was a very deadly disease which we fought by making vaccines mandatory. So as I said, when it comes to their health, people really care. And when it comes to cancer also, it's a very deadly disease, so people care about their health. And when they are made aware of their current state, and they are made pointed out with their symptoms, they would definitely go and take this test, so that they can easily go and get treated at the right time, and they are aware of their situation. And then the next problem is that there are different apps like MI Fit, Fitbit, etc. So what's the difference between them and our app? MIBit and Fitbit are nearly not reliable, as they don't have doctors' suggestions, and they don't diagnose diseases. And the point is that our app gets so many suggestions from many doctors around the world. As I said, who should verify it, so that this can be an international app, and can bring in a lot of doctors into contact. And then many not only cancer, many diseases can be treated easily using this, and it can become a worldwide campaign, so that cancer patients doesn't lose their life easily, and the 1 million deaths what was happened last year can be easily reduced. And then the problem, the accuracy, how much accurate the app might be. As I said, this is a diagnosis, and diagnosis is completely different from confirmation. A confirmation can be only done by using an MRI or a CT scan, and that MRI and CT scan can also be made into a reduced form and be connected with the app, so that they can also do that easily from the same place. So here the mission, the engineers and the doctors work hand in hand, so there are many suggestions over here, so the accuracy is pretty high, and the prediction given by the machine can also be discussed with the doctor's contact that has been given there. And then the last problem would be, how will it be preferred? People might prefer going to the doctor instead of coming to an app. When government made polio injection and TT injection mandatory, nowadays people go to the hospital for TT injection if they got even a single wound. So the point is, government should make it mandatory, so that people can rely on it. And as I said, if who verifies it, that is World Health Organization verifies it, this project could be a very great success, because it can save millions of lives in the future. And as I said, why carcinoma prognosis? It eliminates loss of life, it's cost and time efficient, creates awareness, link between technology and medicine. I am a first year student who has developed an app like this, but joining many engineers from lots of backgrounds, and joining many doctors all around the world, this app could be a huge success, and it can be developed. And this is just a small beginning, and if this idea has been implemented, this can result in huge success, and many lives could be saved easily. As you can see, the effect of technology, even a tender coconut shop owner is having digital money over there, but using technology for something like saving lives is really huge. We use technology for all kinds of stuff, like from waking up, we use our phones for sending texts, for playing games, etc., etc. But using the technology to save millions of lives, that's pretty cool, right? So as I said, the future aspects of the app are verifying it by who, and then the app can be advertised by using many celebrities, so that people really rely on it, and they believe that this app can change their lives. And then the one more thing is that this app creates awareness, so doctors can be made doctors contract can be made between the doctors. And here this can also be economically, it can increase the economical situation of our country, as it can save millions of lives, and by bringing in many types of doctors from all around the world. So this would create a revolution. So I hope this app becomes a huge success in the future, and I really hope that it saves millions of lives in the future. Thank you all.